I've got it recording now.
Yeah, so pause it now.
Yeah.
All right.
Do everything else while Philip sends us to Greece. I met Philip, I'm not even going to try and pronounce your last name, Philip. You can say it when we turn it over to you. Philip and I met at the International Luxury Travel Market in Cannes in 2018. And we just, connected. He works for, he's a senior vice president at the largest destination management company in Greece. And he was so impressed by Gifted Travel Network and not meeting me, but the potential of Gifted Travel Network, that he actually came to one of our Book More Travel workshops in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then I met him again. We met again at ILTM in 2019. Unfortunately, there won't be an ILTM in 2020, so I won't get to see him then. But he's done several itineraries for clients of mine. Everybody's loved them. It's been great. They've been very tailored to exactly what they wanted. And he's just fabulous to work with. So I was very thrilled when I asked him if he would do Greece with us. And just so you know, it is 3 o'clock in the morning where Philip is right now. So he's really doing a great job. So anyway, I'm going to turn this over to Philip, and Philip, take us to Greece. You have to unmute Philip. His screen's been freezing a little. Philip, can you unmute yourself? I lost him. Oops. Did we lose you? Maybe he's going to come back in. Oh, technology. This is the great part about it. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Judy. Got a few more people came in. I hope he's going to come back. Let's see. He's in the waiting room. I'm gonna make him. He's just connecting right now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Philip. Yes.
Hi. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry about this, guys.
That's all right. That's all right. You
Can
were
you see me?
Not yet. It's going to take a minute to kind of do it, but there you are. Okay, great.
Excellent.
All
Well,
right.
that was embarrassing. I apologize from everyone.
Right.
So I don't know. I want to thank you for the introduction. Should I?
Yeah. Why don't you just go ahead?
Start?
Go ahead and take.
If you don't mind, I'll share my screen.
Absolutely.
With the presentation. Just 1 minute. Excellent.
Okay, perfect.
So, apologize once again. Greece, a beautiful traditional destination, summer destination. Our seasonality is mainly from April to November, with July and August being the warmest months. Beautiful landscapes, direct flights from anywhere in the world. Approximate duration is usually between 8 and 13 hours, depending on which coast you're located. What else? Well, Tour Greece, just a few words about us. We're the oldest destination management company in Greece since 1949. We're a team of 75 professionals, and we're actually helping you all to design and design the itinerary according to your needs. So we're the only agency, you should know, that we have our own offices in all the islands. That means we monitor and we operate the trip from the time you land till the time you take off. So at any given time throughout your trip, most of the times you'll have somebody from our team there with you. So let me see. Now, I just wanted to show you a little bit the map of Greece, just so you have an idea in your mind. So on the one side, it's the Aegean Sea. It's the sea between Greece and Turkey, which you'll see on your right, and the Ionian Sea, which is the sea between Greece and Italy on the other side. So we have Italy on one side and Turkey on the other side. Now, there are a lot of differences. We have over 2,000 islands all over Greece. Now, the basic difference between the islands in the Aegean Sea and the Ionian Sea is the islands in Aegean Sea, like Mykonos, Santorini, Crete, Rhodes, that everybody has heard of, usually have no vegetation at all. You get to see all the whitewashed churches and the little houses, the domed ones, etc. And the waters are dark blue. While on the Ionian side, between Greece and Italy, the islands are full of vegetation and the waters are green like Caribbean, which is something unique. In one trip, you may see both worlds. Now, let me get to our next slide, which we're getting into Athens. Athens is the capital of Greece, and it's the metropolis. So we're seeing now the Acropolis and the Parthenon. The Parthenon was a temple dedicated to Athena. So all Athens is built surrounding the temple of the Athena, the Parthenon. Now, this is a larger view. On the west side, you'll see at the far end, it's the port city of Athens, Piraeus, where most of the ferries for the connections to the islands are starting from. Beautiful Parthenon, a view of Herod Atticus. Athens is beautiful and it's unique. Why? Because well, we have all this stressful life, etc. But you get to see how the ancient temples are well connected with the modern life and the modern buildings. So that is something unique. This is the Herod Atticus, which is the theater, the ancient theater, right under the Acropolis. This is the Kallimarmaron Stadium, where the first Olympic Games in the modern era in 1956 took place. It's right in the middle of Athens. So imagine going to work or going at your hotel and passing by all these monuments. Now, a special area, neighborhood, which everybody loves is the Plaka area, the Plaka city. It's the area right under the hill of the Acropolis, full of pedestrian streets, beautiful little taverna shops, restaurants, coffee shops, souvenir shops, etc. And usually open until late night. This is beautiful for a stroll during the day or even at night. Since I've traveled a bit Europe, I usually compare all the main old cities, let's say, with ours. The difference I've seen is that Greeks, it's not what we call touristic place. Of course, all tourists will go there, all visitors will pass by, but mainly Greeks go there with their families, with their children, to walk around, sit somewhere nice and have a nice meze or a tapa in a local taverna and have a glass of wine. And visitors from around the world really enjoy that. Now, this is another view of the Monastiraki, the beginning of the flea market in Plaka, and the Acropolis on top. Now, we're very proud because, as you all know, in 2004, we hosted once again the Olympic Games. Greeks were very proud. We've built a lot of infrastructure. This is actually the newest museum in Europe. It's the new Acropolis Museum, beautiful. Of course, I have to admit, it's a Swiss company, the architectures. And right after the Olympic Games, Greece went into a huge debt. But still, we're still very proud after all these years, and we're carrying the heritage proudly. Now, you get to see a very interesting point, and I'm sorry for taking your time, but I really wanted to point this out. If and when you visit Athens and you visit the new Acropolis Museum, you'll see the series of the statues, and some of them are missing. They're missing because most of them are in a British museum and a French museum, and they refuse to return them back. So the idea of the design of the museum was to leave everything and mention underneath that you may see this statue in a British museum or a French museum. Now, this is the classical guard of Greece, of the park. Every 1 hour, which is very interesting. We have the a viewing of the Poseidon Temple, which is in Sunio. It's at the far end of the Attica mainland, and it's a temple dedicated to Poseidon, and it's right on the cliff, and the sunsets from there are magnificent. Now, of course, a lot of experiences, a lot of things to do. We have the walking tours. Of course, there are the sightseeing tours, the classical, the typical ones, and then we have a few different versions, like the Athens food tour that the guide will take you and walk you through the meatpacking district, the vegetable market, and the fish market, and you will end up tasting different meze. Meze we call the little dishes like tapas in Spain, where you can try a little bit of everything. So we have, of course, the Greek family home cooking, which you get invited into as a house guest with a typical Greek family, where the lady of the house will cook, and of course, discussions about modern Greece and all the political situations, and everything else. It's quite interesting, and people usually love this because they actually get to interact for real with people, and they get to see their points of view that it's not easy to see otherwise. What else? Of course, wines. As the esteemed connoisseur of wines, the friend of Sandy, brought today 2 wines, very good ones. I asked because, to be honest with you, I wasn't aware of them, but I found out that they're very good. So wines in Greece wineries are everywhere. We have a lot of tours in Athens, in the mainland, but also in the islands. Of course, Santorini, where the 2 wines of the day are from, is known for its wines. So we have some very interesting olive tastings that are really picking up, because you get to taste actually several varieties from all over Greece, and you can start appreciating later on, the olive oils that we're all getting. We have some very interesting tours, like a small short cruise, which is a full day. That takes you from Athens, and you get to see Hydra Island, Poros Island, and Aegina in one day, which is a fantastic experience because except the islands that you'll visit, in one day you get to see the 3 closest islands, which are very unique and very traditional. So this is a picture of Hydra, a beautiful island, very known for its ship owners. The ship owning families from Hydra are very well known. And no cars in Hydra. Donkeys or walking around. This is the only way. Then this is a viewing of Poros, also very beautiful island with a lot of blue domed churches. Very nice, very traditional. And then for the end, we have Aegina, which is the largest island. Now, mainland has a lot to offer, like Delphi. It's only about 2 hours away from Athens, and you get to see we're the center of the world according to the Greek mythology. You get to see the Apollo temple there and the ancient theater. Then you have close by Meteora, very famous from an old James Bond movie. It's the high rocks where all the old monasteries are built on top. So these are beautiful, unique escapes to view, like this one. This is the monastery of Varlam. It's a very sacred place. Even you know, their daily supplies. They have baskets with ropes, and for hundreds of meters, they're still doing that. Of course, a unique experience is the balloon champagne flights in Meteora. It takes the panoramic views from there are unique. Of course, they don't allow you very close by the monasteries, but you have great viewings. It's a fantastic experience. Now, the first destination is Mykonos, of course. Everybody knows Mykonos, very famous, the island of the winds, the island of the rich and famous, and all the movie stars. The Ibiza of Greece, let's say. It's the island with the 5 windmills, very well known because due to the fact that since the early 1980s, Mykonos was the first touristic destination after Athens in Greece. It was very well known. A lot of things to do, very beautiful, very traditional, a lot of nightlife, a lot of beautiful restaurants right on the beach, nightclubs for the more adventurous friends of ours. We have Little Venice. Little Venice is called UCY because it's built right on the water, and the sunsets from there are magnificent. Many, many things to do. The beaches are very nice. You get to see beaches that you can get a lounge chair, a sunbed, 2 sunbeds actually with an umbrella for the price of 2,500 euros. Of course, this is not for every beach, but they have some really exquisite hotels, really exquisite club lounge restaurants on the beach. All the people with yachts are coming there, etc. Now, the closest island from Mykonos, and a must-see, it's the Delos Island tour. Delos Island is very famous. It's the Temple of Apollo. There are no habitants, only the guides and the guards are allowed there. And you actually get to walk in a real city. You get to see the baths, you get to see where the library was, where the agora, where the politicians would talk, the chambers of the priests. It's a unique experience, and it's only a 40-minute boat ride, and then a guide takes you there and walks with you all over the town. Very nice. Now, the next destination, of course, is Santorini. We couldn't leave Santorini, the beautiful island Santorini with the volcano. It was awarded several times by the Condé Nast Traveler magazine as best destination in the world. As you can see on your screen, it's shaped as a half moon. And the little island on the left, it's Thirassia, where the volcano is. Now, the views are magnificent. The cliffside of the island, the locals call it Caldera. Some of the most unique properties, hotels are built there with rooms built right on the cliff with the view of the sunset. It's magnificent. I'm sure most of you have seen many, many pictures of Santorini. Right across, you see the little island of Thirassia, where the volcano erupted. It is being said that it's where the lost Atlantis was. The whole complex of the 3 islands was all together, shaping a circle but then the volcano erupted and the island got apart. And there is a theory, because the waters there are very deep comparing to the rest of the Mediterranean, that there could be the lost Atlantis. And of course, diving world there, it's for the divers, it's a magnificent destination. Now, another view of Fira. Fira, it's the village, the capital of Santorini. Most of the souvenir shops, most of the restaurants are there. Beautiful area. The far end of Santorini, it's the Ia village. The Ia village is well known because it's at the corner of the island, and the most magnificent sunsets you've ever seen, honestly. And I've been around the world. Guys, this is a sunset not to miss. It's unbelievable. Now, you can actually go up to Fira from the lower part of the island with a cable car or with a traditional donkey. Of course, we do not suggest that because now, it used to be a tradition, but now the animal cruelty, we're trying to avoid that. Anyhow, no, here we are. Usually the villagers love donkeys, and they're helping them out, because imagine if you want to build a hotel right on the cliff. Who's going to carry all the stone, all the cement, everything, all the pipes, everything? The donkeys. So they're faithful companions. Now, Santorini, very famous for its wines, a lot of wineries, also a wine museum, very nice. There is also a strain, a grapevine called Assyrtiko, which is traced back in the antiquity. Can you imagine having a grapevine that still works and still produces great wine, and it's from the antiquity? This is the Art Gallery Museum and Winery, very interesting. And of course, the must-see in Santorini, we have to mention that, it's the catamaran cruise, the sunset catamaran cruise, where you get to go around the island, and then you end up in Nia, where you get to see the sunset from there. It's magnificent. Now, excuse me. Of course, cooking class. Santorini is very famous for its cuisine, local produce, although there isn't much of vegetation, and very nice and interesting recipes that we may have on our next meeting, if we do another one for Greece. Now, the last one is Akrotiri, which is the Akrotiri excavation, which is the only actually ancient ruin in Santorini, the most important one, which takes you back to the times of the volcano. We're talking about 3,000 years ago. Next, we've decided with Sandra to introduce you two smaller islands, unique, off the beaten track, Paros and Naxos, both of them unique, very traditional, not a lot of tourists, so you get the real feeling of the traditional Greek hospitality. Paros is a beautiful traditional fishing island with, of course, its windmills. A very interesting tour is with a helicopter. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. It's breathtaking. The views from up there are magnificent. The next one is Naxos, a big island, very famous for its cuisine and its local produce, the cheeses and the meats and the out of this world. I'm just going to tell you this. My last 2 summers, I got 3 days off, and we went to Naxos. It was a very, very interesting. It has everything. It has the town, the traditional town on the port side, and then on the back side, there are villages, traditional villages up in the mountains. Beautiful, beautiful. you'll see most of the Greek islands, the towns are with little alleys. And if you see them from the upper side, it looks like a labyrinth. And that was due to the pirates in the old days. In the old days, there were pirates all over the Mediterranean. So the people had to be covered, so they would build the cities like these. Cooking experience, of course, with Naxian products. Who wouldn't want to try that? Byzantine monasteries. And then for a final destination, Crete, the largest island in Greece. Beautiful. I could have hours talking about Crete. Crete is unique. It's so big. It has everything. It has the green blue beaches. It has the traditional villages. The people there are unbelievable. They're very traditional. You get to see actually nowadays people wearing their traditional black uniforms. It's like a black shirt and a black trousers and black boots. And that is because they're still mourning of the 400 years of the Turkish occupation. So we've been, hundreds of years after that, and then still they're traditional. But the hospitality of these people is well known. Of course, we have to mention that it's the oldest civilization in the Mediterranean, Minoan civilization. It was the King Minos with his beautiful palace, and the mythology, the Greek mythology has it that he kept a labyrinth in the basis of his castle, and that's where he kept the Minotaur, half man, half Taurus. So, of course, this mythology, Greek mythology, but the Greeks always like to perplex things and add their own, notes. This is also a very interesting tour, a visit to Spinalonga Island. It was very well known after a very famous British author, Victoria Hislop, wrote the book The Island, and it was where they kept the leopards, where they built their own society and they built the whole city, etc. Chania also very nice, very romantic, very aristocratic since the days of the Crusaders. Arolythos, a traditional village where you get to see how the old people would weave, the art of weaving, and how to make cheese, and how to milk the goats. Very interesting experience as well. And of course, the Cretan wine is very famous with multiple awards. And Cretan cooking class, where you can get to home and cook with the lady of the house. And of course, the recipes from Crete are unique. A lot of gorges. The best one is of Samaria. It's beautiful for the trekking fans. Very nice. You can have the hard way. You can have also the easy way. To be honest with you folks, I'm not really into that. I've tried it once, and somewhere in the half of the duration, I stopped and I returned back. It wasn't my cup of tea. So, but it's beautiful. That's it. I hope I didn't take much of your time.
Philip, this was fabulous. I have to tell you, everybody is writing in the chat box about, oh my God, this is so gorgeous. I have to go. It's on my list. I mean, you have done a fabulous job giving everybody a quick little insight into how gorgeous and how fabulous Greece is.
It was a pleasure. I want to thank you once again for having me here. I mean, it was very nice.
Okay, so we have a little tight on time, but I want to just, does anybody have a specific question for Philip now? And Philip, can you stay around and like maybe after
Of
we
course,
do the
of
wine thing,
course,
we can add some more questions. But does anybody have a
of
burning
course.
question for Philip now? And feel free to unmute yourselves. Let me see if I don't know how to unmute everybody.
Question. Sandy,
Yes.
it's Myra.
Hi, Myra.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I do have a question about visiting the mainland north of the monasteries, north of Delphi and the monasteries. I
Arachova
was
and Metera.
wondering about, I can't pronounce the name of the second city of Greece, but
Thessaloniki.
thank you. Okay. So I'm wondering about that area and whether you think that would be interesting for people who have already been to the islands and to Athens and to Delphi.
Thessaloniki, it's a beautiful city. A lot of interest there. You can visit in 2 days and see everything. You there? I think I lost you.
Yeah, no.
I'm here. We're here.
Okay,
We're
okay.
here. We're here.
So a beautiful city. It has the Pelops was the second capital of Greece. It has a beautiful synagogue. It's a very nice city. Very nice city.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, I think we'll save more questions for Philip afterwards because I want to, in case some people have to leave, at 6, we want to make sure we have enough time. So tonight, thanks to Warren, our amazing wine purveyor, who is just picking the most fabulous wines to go with all these destinations. And because of Warren's friendship with Jesse Becker, Jesse's back with us tonight, our master sommelier. I don't know if you realize that there are only 172 master sommeliers in the US and only 269 in the whole world. So, I mean, there's lots of sommeliers all over, but to be a master sommelier is really an amazing tradition. So I am going to turn this over to Warren, our wonderful purveyor of all things wine. And I'll let Warren and Warren and Jesse, kind of take over from here. So Warren, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Sandy. I appreciate it. It's great to see so many familiar faces. And I apologize for being a few minutes late to the call. But today in San Francisco was a milestone in 2020 in that it was our first French Club lunch since COVID started in February. Now, most of you don't know the French Club, but it's a food and wine organization here in San Francisco that is the ne plus ultra of luncheon bacchanals and debauchery. And I was over there today and it was insane. I mean, there were about 14 of us and we had about 40 bottles of wine, 3 of which were double magnums and several magnums. And we had 1979 Leclerc Rion champagne. We had 89 Margaux. We had De Cru Bacayou. We had Cheval Blanc. We had Chevalier Montrachet in a 3-liter from Bouchard. It was insane. And so, as you can tell, I'm a little happy at the moment.
We're lucky you made it home, Warren.
And
yeah, congratulations for walking and talking.
I didn't drive, I Ubered. And interestingly enough, I've got to grab the white wine from the freezer, which I just put in. I know Jesse's going to have smoke coming out of his ears when he hears I put the white wine in the freezer to chill it, but I didn't have a lot of time. But I had these amazing, amazing wines. I mean, the best of the best. First Growth Bordeaux, Grand Cru Burgundy, all of this amazing stuff. We had wonderful wine from Rioja and the Priorat, and we had Hermitage, Chave Hermitage, and we had Chateauneuf du Pape Blanc from Chateau de Nalise. We had amazing wines. And then I come here, and some of you saw this. I actually tried to open this wine with a corkscrew, right? Until I realized it was a screw cap, right? So, but I'm sorry, and I go to Kokari. Those of you who live in the Bay Area, Kokari is like my favorite restaurant. Greek food. I like Rapsani. I drink wine. And Jesse, I said to Jesse, we need good Greek wine. And Jesse, this Atlantis, oh my goodness, I would have been happy to serve this wine with the rest. So I'm going to turn it over to Jesse, who's amazing. I mean, the thing I love about Jesse, yes, what you failed to say, Sandy, yes, there's 200 and something master somms, not just now, but in the history of the organization, right? And so it's pretty special. But what I love about Jesse's the only master somm I know who will come to a wine event and doesn't wear his master somm pin and deliberately takes it off when we go out to Michael Nina for dinner so that he's not lording it over everyone. So he's the most modest guy I've ever met who knows more about wine than 99.9999% of any wine connoisseur in the world. So Jesse, I'll turn it over to you and wow us. I mean, Greece, oh my God. I mean, who the hell knew that, you know, that Greek wine could be this good? So I'm going to go grab my Gaia so I can drink my Greek wine, white wine, with my drunken red wine. And Jesse, up to you.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction. Hello, Sandy. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again. And Philip, that was an incredible presentation, and it's almost 4 in the morning for you. So you're a real champ for being up so late with us. But I just wanted to tell you, maybe say a few things about the wines that you're drinking tonight. So I prepared a short presentation here. So let me get that ready. And, you know, for any history buffs out there, Greece has 6,500 years of history to talk about. So if you're interested in wine and wine history, Greece can go way, way back. But everything that's really sort of relevant about modern Greek wine is only something that's happened in the last 30, 40 years. And here we have one of the very important producers who sort of jump-started the modern Greek industry. That is Giannis Karas, who started Domaine Karas, and it just happens to be a picture of him and the French President Francois Mitterrand, so pretty cool. But that was in the 60s and 70s, and things really started to modernize in the 80s and 90s. And I just wanted to show you a map here of Greece. And you know, both wines that we're drinking tonight are from the island of Santorini, which is not only one of the most beautiful and popular destinations in the world for its beauty and you know, for vacations, but also just fantastic wines from here. It's probably the most famous wine of Greece is Santorini, but it's a bit like Italy. All over Greece, you have wine growing, and it's everywhere from the islands to the Peloponnese, so and then also the mainland and into the mountain northern interior of Greece. There's wine growing all over the place, and one of the real strengths of Greek wine is that it has so many different grape varieties and regions and appellations, and so there's so much to discover here. And Philip mentioned that Santorini, so this is the island of Santorini, that it's what you're seeing here is actually the very top of a volcano. So this is the caldera, which is now kind of filled in by water, of course, and now it's this island. But this is, of course, a beautiful, beautiful place, as you've already seen, but it's also the most famous region in Greece for its wines. And this is very unique. You see these really sort of sparse soils. Philip mentioned that there's not a lot of you know, vegetation on the island, and that's because it's just these very meager volcanic soils. But one thing that thrives in very meager, poor soils is the grapevine, very famously. And there you see this very unique vine training system. That's called a coulura, but these are little baskets. They train the vines this way to protect them from the wind. And when we were trying to land this last time I went to Santorini, we had to make several approaches to the island because the wind was so strong that they had to keep coming back up and trying to land again. So the wind is a real thing here, very intense, and that's why they train the vines in this very unique way, this sort of basket shape. It's called a coulura. And you can imagine that that's all just handwork. There's no way you can farm that with a machine or a tractor. So everything here here is done by hand. And I wanted to tell you about the two wines that we're tasting tonight. Both come from this island of Santorini, which of course I've already mentioned is very famous, but just keep in mind that there's great wine being produced all over Greece, everywhere from the north, the sort of the mountainous areas, to the Peloponnese, to the islands. There's great wine. Crete, for example, great wines coming from Crete now. And these two gentlemen own the winery called Yaya. Yaya means Mother Earth. That's what they named the winery. And that's Leon Karastalos and Giannis Paraskopoulos. And they are probably Yaya, and their winery Yaya is probably one of the top wineries in all of Greece. And so we tried to pick a benchmark example of this famous Santorini wine for you. And the grape variety here is called Assyrtiko, which I think is a world-class grape variety. So if you've got the white wine in your glass right now, give it a swirl, stick that in your nose, and it sort of smells like the place. It's got a very sort of almost brininess to it. It's very lemony, but it has this sort of almost sea breeze or sea mist to it. Very, very distinctive. And I think Philip mentioned that these vines that I just showed you, these vines can be incredibly old, hundreds, centuries old. So it's incredible that the vines, the roots underneath are incredibly old, and they give these wines a lot of extract and power, but they have this really great citrus quality and very mineral. So of course, these are the kinds of wines, if you're having some seafood. I think some of you may have made some salt-crusted fish or something like that tonight. Perfect dish to pair with this wine. It's one of the world's great seafood wine. If you don't believe me about the sort of salty salinity of this wine, put that wine on your palate. Here, I'll do it with you. Put the wine on the palate and just kind of smack your lips for just here, try this. Here, I gotta stop the screen share. So try this. Let's put the wine on our palate, taste it, and then kind of smack your lips, and you're going to taste this salt that I'm talking about. It's almost, it's a salty kind of sensation. That's for me sort of the signature flavor of Santorini. So great seafood wine. These wines are always dry, high in acidity, very citrusy, very saline, perfect for the cuisine that you get on the island. Maybe some of this, maybe a little octopus also. So, and then the other wine I wanted to tell you about also comes from Santorini, and it's from Argyros. And I think Philip also sort of endorsed these wines earlier when he said these are two great wineries. These are two of the top wineries on the island of Santorini, but they're also two of the top ranked wines in all of Greece. And this is another great winery. This is Argyros, which is a very old winery on the island of Santorini. And they also make great Santorini white wine, Assyrtiko grape, but here they we brought you the red that they produce. They call it the Atlantis Red. Great name, but it's look at the grape, right? If you want to look at the grapes, they're on the side label here, and these are going to be probably obscure to most of you. We've got 90% Mandilaria and 10% Mavrochigano, and these are two grapes that are very typical of the Aegean, the islands of the Aegean. In fact, this 10% Mavrochigano was almost extinct, and it was a winery like Argyros that sort of helped bring it back from extinction because it was just so rare to find. But pour that wine in your glass, and we could taste it together if you like. But what I like about these reds that come from the islands, if you go to the mainland or the peninsula, you might get a wine like Nemea or Zino Mavro. These are very powerful wines with a lot of tannin, tannin, that kind of gripping sensation some red wines have. But what I love about these island reds is that they're very soft in tannins, but they have a lot of acidity and freshness. So you can even pair these reds from the islands with fish if you wanted to. They would go great with some charred octopus. That would be fantastic. But I just wanted to point out also that one other famous food that you get on this island of Santorini are their tomatoes. They're incredible. They're as intensely flavored as any San Marzano tomato from Campania, Italy. You can see they grow in the meager sort of volcanic soil there, and they have this really intense flavor. And so they'll make all kinds of dishes with these fantastic tomatoes. This is a very famous dish. They'll make these fritters with these tomatoes. They're fantastic. They're just delicious. But let's taste this together. It's low in tannin, high in acidity, plenty of freshness, and I think the grapes give it some very interesting, almost sort of exotic spiciness to it. So if you want, give it a good swirl. Smell that beautiful red from the island of Santorini, and then let's taste it.
So Jesse, this is really interesting. It's like, you know, a lot of those Mediterranean wines are really ripe and heavy, you know, like from southern France and stuff. But this is very feminine, very delicate. It's almost like Pinot and Barolo Nebbiolo like, and beautiful fragrance, and you can see your fingers through it. It's not over extracted. It's a beautiful, delicate wine. I figure you can drink this with almost any food, right?
Beautiful, exactly right, like a Barolo or Barbaresco, but without those aggressive tannins. So this is a red that actually, if you wanted to pair this with a fish, you can. Of course, you eat a lot of lamb, you eat a lot of meat in Greece also, and this would work with that, no problem. The acidity would make it perfect for that kind of rich, sort of meaty dish, but you'll find that they'll drink these kinds of reds even with fish courses, with charred octopus. I keep coming back to that, but that would be a great dish for this wine. So you are, I'll just add this one final note. You are in for a treat visiting Greece because as wine lovers, and I assume you are because we're doing this tasting together, it's like Italy, it's like France. There's wine all over, and they have but really almost to another degree, they have so many unique grape varieties and so many different wine styles. It is a treat for wine lovers, and there's wine to be discovered all over Greece. So I hope you are able to, when you can go, when you visit, taste the wines and make that part of your experience also. So thank you.
Jesse, this is Michaela. I have a question. My family has worked in agribusiness and in the wine industry, and I don't know any of these varietals. How endangered are they? How rare are they made anyplace else? Etc.
It's Michaela, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. It's good. So there was a little bit of international varieties. When I say international, like sometimes you'll see Cabernet Sauvignon or Chardonnay pop up here and there. And these became a little popular in the 80s and 90s, but really they've really focused on their native grape varieties more recently in the last couple of decades. And I think this is one of the real strengths of Greece, is that they have grapes like Ayurtico, a great red from Nemea, from the Peloponnese. They have Assyrtiko, the variety from the Aegean Sea, from Santorini. And these are so fascinating and interesting. It makes Greece different than all the other wines you find all over the world. So I think it's a great thing. And like I said, on this wine, the Mavitrigano that you see on the label was almost extinct. This is one of the wineries that has brought it back from extinction, so Arieros. So that's true that they've got many hundreds of unique grape varieties, and in some cases they're just trying to preserve and hang on to these because they are very important sort of viticultural history, if you will. So,
which I'm translating to don't export very much.
The most famous wine, and here in the US we can find Santorini in almost every market in the US because it is so famous, but seek out some of these other wines also, like Nemea is a great wine from the Peloponnese area, the peninsula, and I highly recommend that red wine Nemea. They've got a famous red the grape's called Zino Mavro, but it comes from the north, and that is really an awful lot like Nebbiolo that you would get in Italy. So look for these grape varieties, seek them out. You will be rewarded because Greek wine is is ascending in quality, and you're getting great quality now from Greece.
But Jesse, didn't I mean, wine making, historically didn't originate in Greece, and also tell us a little bit about, because I discovered, I mean, you were last in San Francisco at one of the seminars we did. There was I don't know if it was Argyros or someone else, but the dessert wines, right? The sweet wines originated in Greece, and there's some wonderful sweet wine varietals. I forget the grapes. I know it's not Muscat, but I mean, beautiful dessert wines too, right?
That's what I said earlier, is that there's 6,500 years of viticultural history in Greece, so you can go way back here. But the ancient Greeks were responsible for some of the wine regions that we know today, like, for example, Marseille, the city of Marseille in Provence, southern France. That is a Greek city originally. Some of the grapes that we know from Italy, like Greco or Aglianico, they come from Greece originally. So the ancient Greeks really influenced the world of wine greatly, and we still see all of these, all their influences throughout the wine growing world. So, and you're right, some of these great classic sweet wines, like, for example, Vinsanto, we think of it as a sweet wine from Italy. There's a Vinsanto also in Greece, and they would argue theirs is the original, the older version. So you're absolutely right. There's a great history of wines, sweet, dry, you name it. They produce it all in Greece.
And Ginger, to your question about these wines of availability, I mean, Greek wines, I don't know why, Jesse, but they got a bad rap for some time, right? And now, I mean, the wines are extraordinary, and yes, Ginger, they are ubiquitously available now, and I think a lot of Greek restaurants are carrying, whether it's Rapsani or these Assyrtiko. I mean, Assyrtiko is one of the great white wines of the world, par excellence, comparable with almost anything in terms of eating with seafood and shellfish, right, Jesse?
Absolutely, and maybe the reason for the bad rap, there's a wine that you can still enjoy and drink in Greece called Retsina. It's a wine that is aromatized. It's got actual pine resin added to it, and we probably know that from the past. And you know what? Some of the Retsina that was coming into the US until more recent times was not that great of quality, but I'll tell you this, Retsina can also be an excellent wine. And if we all like gin and tonics, which most of us do, if you want the wine version of it with a lower alcohol and the freshness of a gin and tonic, try a Retsina. I'm telling you, there are some really great, refreshing Retsina that is in the market, in our US market now to be had. And it's great with food. So this is a wine you can still drink, like in the tavernas in Athens or all over Greece. And there's some really good ones out there. So maybe the bad rap came from Retsina, but now Retsina is really good too. So look for that as well.
Yeah, well, Jesse, if only the people on the call knew where they could access Greek wines from. I have no idea who they would call to get Greek wines, but who knows?
So are there some good Retsinas that we can try? Because my experience of Retsina was like Pine Sol.
This winery, makes a fantastic Retsina. Look for it. It's wonderful. Philip, you know the Retsina of Yeya. It's incredible. It's such a delicious wine. So,
Mark, do you carry that Retsina?
No, absolutely. I mean, you don't have to look very far. You just have to send me an email and I'll ship you a case.
All right.
Or 6 or 7 cases, whatever you want. And Ginger, I mean, yeah. I must say, I've got to call out to Ginger, because Sandy, you sent me an email, and you sent Jesse too. Ginger, not only did Ginger cook everything tonight and but she actually had her major domo butler hold a menu of all the wines we're drinking tonight, right, Ginger? I mean,
yeah, I call him Snooty Man. So if you're on the Facebook group that Sandy has, you would see his posting. So he's the snooty man, like a butler, and he's got a menu. And so, yeah, but I did not do everything. Lori and David brought the Greek salad, but I did do the moussaka and the salt baked fish.
But I mean, you know, Greek wines. I mean, I do not have any food. I probably should get some food soon. But you know, as I said, I had this ridiculous debauched bacchanal this afternoon. But I must say, Jesse, even without food, these wines are just lovely, light, beautiful, elegant summer quaffers. You know, I'm sure they're enhanced by food, but I must say this Gaia, this white wine, just by itself on an afternoon is a beautiful wine to drink.
Well,
Yeah.
salt baked fish, the white was what was great with the Greek salad, but the salt baked fish was amazing. And I've only done it once before. And so this was like an experiment all by myself without a chef to guide me. And I'll post videos later of me cracking the crust.
Oh, I want to see that, Ginger.
I had to get the hammer.
Sandy,
Oh,
I have a question. You mentioned the winery, the white wine, the winery that it came from, and I missed that on Santorini.
The winery is, both of these wineries are located on Santorini, but the white tonight is from Yeya, and Yeya, they took the name, it means Mother Earth, but this is one of the top wineries in all of Greece, and also the other winery, the red wine, comes from
Yeya.
Yeya.
Yeah.
So spell Yaya.
G-A-I apostrophe A. Yep.
It's interesting. It's not on the bottle anywhere.
Yeah, it's in Greek. It's earth. Yeah.
It's on the cork.
It
When
is.
you take the cork out, it's on the cork.
Ah,
It's on the top.
It's on the bottle down at the bottom left.
Oh, it is. It is indeed on the cork.
Okay.
well, the cork. The cork is in my cork.
Oh, there's Ginger's butler for the evening.
And I
So,
have to say, David and I love the salt fish. Excellent. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Good, Ginger.
Very
Oh,
nice.
thank Philip. Thank Philip. Philip sent the recipes.
But there is a trick that was in my other recipes for salt baked fish is that you take egg whites. So if you use a 4-pound box of the kosher salt, take 2 egg whites and mix them in with the salt, and it makes it hold the crust better than just salt. And that wasn't in the other recipe, but it's in the ones that I had. And when I was talking to the guy at Whole Foods who was cleaning my branzino for me, he said, oh yeah, make sure you do the egg whites.
Well, the recipes that we got said that they had, you know, the egg whites, but they said that the water was just as good. So I figured that that would be easier to handle. So that's why I did it that way. But you can do it either way.
So guys, I believe next week, if I'm not mistaken, we're doing Spain next week. Is that correct, Sandy?
Absolutely.
So
Got the recipes today.
Jesse, maybe I can indulge you just a second, Jesse, to talk a little bit about Spain. I know they're not necessarily the wines, but we're having a beautiful 30% Garnacha and 70% from the Priorat. Oh my God, what's wrong with my brain? Not Tempranillo. But anyway, we're having Priorat and we're having a wonderful Chocalina from northern Spain next week. You want to give us a little teaser on Chocalina and the Priorat for our experience next week?
Those are two opposites. So Chocalina will be the most refreshing, zippy, effervescent white that just invites you to guzzle it down. And then the Priorat is powerful and intense. So you're going to need two very different dishes for those two wines. But that's a world of extremes there. But you're in for another treat next week with Spain. But I just want to say thank you again for inviting me tonight to taste some Greek wines with you, and hope you enjoyed the wines. And Philip, I loved the presentation, so I can't wait to come back to Greece.
Thank you. You were fabulous.
Does anyone
Always
have
a
any more
pleasure to
questions
have
for
you.
Jesse before he drops off into his Chicago evening?
Yes.
I have a quick question, but it might be both a tour / wine. Is Greece a place where it's easy to do wine tasting? Or because I know in some countries it's very easy, in other countries you really have to kind of know someone to get into the good places. So what are your
That
thoughts?
might be a better question for Philip, but I can say that like most wineries in Europe, it always helps to plan ahead and to make some appointments ahead of time. But because we don't have so many of these tasting rooms like we have here in the U.S. and California, et cetera. But Philip could probably better answer that.
So yeah, wineries, mainly in Athens, but also in the mainland, a lot of wineries to visit. And the islands, especially Santorini and Crete, more organized and ready to accept visitors, guests for tastings. A lot of them, yes.
So Philip, would you be able, like if there were specific wineries, like if we wanted to visit these wineries that were there, would you be able to arrange that as, individuals, who want?
Of course. And most of them, I mean, there might be something, unique or I don't know, but most of them do accept visits and tours, and they offer wine tastings. Another tour that might be of interest, and that is taking part in Athens, is a walking tour of different Greek wine bars. So you can have different tastings of all sorts of varieties from all over Greece.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, and most of them are in the old city, so it's also beautiful, sightseeing.
And I think Jean had a question.
Jeannie, you're muted. You're muted, Jeannie.
Wanted to know if you have any recommendations on what to eat with the Spanish wines we're having next week.
The recipes will be coming with the information on it. But Jess, I mean,
Yeah, chocolate needs, it could also go with a fish and shellfish, of course, because it's got all this acidity and effervescence, but I almost feel it's like one of those great white wines for cocktailing, and so it stands perfectly on its own, but to keep it light, keep it very simple. I would keep the flavors pretty simple. But with the Priorat, you don't necessarily need a meat course, but it's going to need a dish that has weight and richness, because Priorat's one of the big, powerful red wines of Europe. So, a roast, a steak, something rich, something that has some earthiness to it would also be good. Mushrooms, think of that kind of thing. But I'm sure there's a recipe coming, right, Sandy?
No, you're right, Jesse. I mean,
we have just what you said. We have a very simple fish recipe, and then we have a hearty lamb Catalonian stew for the other.
And the lamb.
You got it. That's it.
But Jesse, Chef Lionel at the French Club today cooked a tomahawk steak, and the Carignan and the Garnacha in the Ferro Bovette was astonishing. So by all means, Sandy, that lamb recipe. But if you want to go out and get yourself a tomahawk steak, ultimately, 5A5 Wagyu tomahawk steak, which I actually sliced today by myself. I sliced it with a butter knife. I kid you not. That tender. I mean, oh my God, it was outrageous. Now, it was wonderful with the Margaux, and it was wonderful with the Ducros Bacayau, and it was wonderful with a host of other wines we have. But I actually think the Priorat with the lamb that Sandy's recommending, the recipe that'll go out, or a tomahawk steak, you just can't go wrong. But the Chocolina, guys, I'm telling you, make it really, really cold. The beautiful effervescent. It's hot. It's summer. It's a beautiful, beautiful wine. I drink that, when I'm thirsty, I drink that wine because it doesn't cost much more than Fiji water. And I figure the Chocolina's got about 80% water in it. So why not drink that instead of the water? So that's what I'm going to be doing next week. And when I'm thirsty, I'm drinking Chocolina instead of Fiji water.
Well, Warren chose the Chocolina because he wanted to get, he figured not many of us had ever drunk that. So this is going to be a new experience, I think, for a lot of us.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest white wine from Spain. I mean, there's Iguay. I mean, Jesse, there's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful white wine from Spain. But Chocolina, I mean, we almost thought it was a Greek wine, right? Some of us today were like, okay, we're going through, oh, this is a Chocolina. It sounds like a Greek wine. It's actually a Spanish wine. And it's almost in France. I mean, the grapes don't know that someone drew a line through the Pyrenees and said, this is France and this is Spain. I mean, it could be a French wine, who knows? But I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful summer wine. And I think you guys are really, really going to enjoy it next week.
It'll be perfect.
Lauren, should we
Okay,
decamp
cheers,
the-
everyone. Oh, sorry, Katie.
I was just saying, should we decamp the red next week in advance? It's
No,
such a big one.
absolutely, Katie. I think that Priorat next week, the Ferro Bobet. I mean, I would say, we're jumping on the call 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock California. I would give it at least 3 hours in a decanter. And, take a taste of it as you pour it into the decanter, just to see how it is out of the bottle. And then give it 2-3 hours in the decanter, and the wine is just going to settle. It's going to, it's extraordinary how beautiful that wine develops over the course of 2-3 hours in the decanter.
Great.
Cheers, everyone. I want to say good night. Thank you so much for having me again. Thank you.
It's fabulous.
Thank you, Jesse. Thanks, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all next week.
Any last minute questions for Philip on Greece? All right, so we're all ready to go to Greece when we can.
Yeah, we're very ready to go to.
I know, poor Joe Beth and Ira.
Sandy, I am so ready for Greece. I can't tell you. I mean,
all right,
after 6 months of being like running around and confined at home and delivering wine and stuff, I was telling Connie, Connie's in La Quinta at the moment, why she's in Palm Springs at 120 degrees. Although it's not like it's cold here in San Francisco. Beautiful, 72-degree Gulf weather in
I think
San
I'd rather be in
Francisco.
Palm Springs than here.
But I tell you, I would actually go out on the street and shoot an innocent man in order to be able to go and spend a week on a Greek island right now. Don't quote me on that. I'm just being facetious.
Yeah, Warren, I think maybe you've had 20
that.
bottles of wine or something.
Unlike Trump, I do not have the intent of shooting someone dead on Fifth Avenue and getting away with it. But I tell you, I couldn't think of anything in the world more desirable right now than getting on a plane with Connie and going to Santorini and checking into a beautiful villa and sitting on the beach and eating food and drinking wine and strolling along white marble sand beaches. Oh my God. I mean, Philip, can I come? Can I come tomorrow, please? Because what I have to do tomorrow is finalize my taxes. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
I hate it.
Well, everyone, we can all think about doing a trip to Greece, I think by kind of the mid to the end of 2021, that there'll be opportunities to do that, and certainly 2022. So,
Well, but interestingly, Sandy, you know, when we started talking about this, you were like Israeli wine, Greek wine, ugh. I mean, it's pretty good stuff, right?
Oh, well, I knew Israeli wines. I mean, my experience of Greek wine was terrible Retsina, but I trust you 100%.
But what did you think of these? I mean, I thought
fabulous.
I thought the white was phenomenal. I think the Atlantis, the red wine was lovely. But I mean, I thought this white wine was off the hook good.
Oh yeah, no, this is a whole other experience. So yeah, and we'll go and Philip will do a fabulous wine tour for us.
Yeah, and thank you to Jesse. I mean, these are new wines to me, generally speaking. And I asked Jesse, and it's like, Jesse, please help me Greek wine. And like, oh my God, I think he really came through. What do you think, Stan? I mean, Stan, you're a connoisseur. I mean, what do you think of these?
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. These are eye-opening. Great. And my experience has been with Retsina as well, but I learned that you can develop a taste for Retsina if you get some decent stuff.
Right,
and but as Jesse said, there are a multitude of red wine varietals, and you don't have to necessarily drink Retsina, but I was very impressed with this wine tonight.
I still have a lot of work to do to get a taste for grappa, but that's a subject for another
Oh,
day.
no, grappa. No,
It still tastes like radiator fluid.
But Stan, there's grappa, and then there's grappa, and then there's grappa, right? So this Silvana makes 8 grappas. So this is
It's all radiator fluid to me. So.
No. This is like cognac or bourbon, right? I mean, this stuff
Oh,
is
okay, all right.
This is grappa.
Yeah,
aged.
after 20,
This is
after
aged in
20
full
bottles
cask.
of De Cru Bocaillou, it's probably, cognac, right?
Yeah. I have. Hey,
Okay.
Dan, you got to come over. I did a tasting last night with the French Club. With we had Remy Martin and Louis Trace.
Wow.
Okay,
Oh.
so we had this. Let me see if I can pull it out here. So this is what we did last week. All right, is the Louis Trace. All right, hold on a second. So
That looks like a
the
box
French
to
Club.
me.
Okay. So this is.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
This is the Niplu Ultra, right? So here we have the Louis Trace decanter.
Oh my God.
So from Remy Martin.
I think we
Louis
should
Trace is
stick
their
around with
partner.
Warren. I think
Right,
I
exactly.
think we need to hang
then-
out with
and-
Warren
and-
here.
and- and the
I
guy
think we all
from
need to go to
Louis Trace-
Warren's house.
No, the
Right,
guy from
exactly.
Louis,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
no, the guy from Louis Trace.
I mean, every time we have one of these groups, we have this array of bottles in the background, and they're going down. They're going down fast, so I think we need to get there.
No, well, Stan, you need to
There's
come
something
over.
left
In
to
fact,
taste.
I was actually in Piedmont just on Sunday, well, sort of close to you, delivering some wine to someone for
Eileen,
actually
Eileen and Ram.
someone from one of your. What is
Eileen and Ram.
I've got the Mad Cow. I can't remember to whom I delivered the wine, but it's around the corner from you, Stan. But no, Stan, you guys have got to come over because I've got Louis Trace. I've got all kinds of stuff. I mean, and the thing is, I can't drink it all myself. And the problem is, if I don't empty the bottle,
But you're
I
gonna
don't
try.
have an excuse to buy more.
Well, Warren, we're here to help you.
My words exactly,
Fine.
Sandy, or whoever said that. That
I mean, what
was
are
what I was
friends
thinking.
for?
It was me.
You know?
We're here to help. Yeah.
We're a very supportive group, Warren.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I do have a patio. I mean, we could fit probably 4 to 8 people out here quite comfortably. Although Ginger has a very nice outdoor area where we can all sit socially distant. I'll bring the wine because I think, based on what I've seen the last, 6 sessions with you, Sandy, is Ginger is the cook. the chef.
Absolutely.
And
She's
Yeah,
not a
Ginger is the
Warren.
cook.
She is a
I think
chef.
what we need,
She is a
to
chef.
do is migrate over to Ginger's deck when
We just need
it's
the
not
weather to get back.
4,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
As soon
And-
as it's not so darn hot.
Yeah, I think we need to
Okay.
head out there, and I'll bring the wine. And
You're right. I have
Ginger will
plenty
cook
of
the
big
food,
backyard.
and I
Right.
think we're great.
Hey,
So,
I'm in.
so,
I'm
so,
in.
so Philip, is it really 2:00 in the morning for you?
No,
there?
it's now
Where are
4
you?
o'clock in the
It's
morning.
4. It's time for him to get up.
No, hang on, Philip. Are you in Athens? You're on mute. You got to turn off your mute.
I think
Philip.
he's gone actually.
No, he's there. He's
There.
talking.
Philip,
but
you're
Philip,
on mute.
Oh, is he there?
Unmute,
Okay.
Philip.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself, Philip.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
No, actually it's 4:15 and I'm in the outskirts of Athens on the seaside.
All right.
We left for our summer house before the COVID area. So I took my wife and we spent all 5 months here to be on the safe
Smart
side.
Beautiful.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, are you going back to sleep or are you going to work now?
No, I'm definitely going to sleep. Definitely.
All right. Well, we will let you go.
No,
So
we're
jump
gonna
off
let
the
you
call.
go.
Thank
Philip.
you. It was wonderful
Thank you
hearing from you. It was a
so
wonderful
much,
show.
Philip.
Sandy,
I'm so
Warren, it was a real pleasure. Guys, it was a real pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I'm really eager to welcome you all here one day.
Well, Philip,
wait
we hope
to
to
see
see you
you.
soon.
Yeah. Bye, Philip. Bye, Sandy.
Excellent.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, Philip.
Take care.
Joe.
Bye-bye. Good night.
All right. time for us to go too.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank
Okay.
you. Another wonderful time. Warren, thank you. Thank you, everyone. If you have any photos or anything, post in the Facebook group. If you have any questions, put them in the Facebook group. We'll answer them. And we'll see you next week, Monday next week, the 14th for Spain. And it's going to be very exciting.
Fabulous. Start thinking about the next flight, Sandy. So.
Next flight, yeah, right. Well, I'm actually going to Mexico in the beginning of October, so I'll keep you all posted about how that goes.
Okay.
All right, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Eileen, Marilyn, Rem, good night. Good night.